Hey, imontheedge here, back again with another brand new video. So today I will be no damaging all the boss fights in No More Heroes Travis Strikes Again, the spin-off in the No More Heroes series, which did not get much, let's say, critical praise at first, because I don't know, like it kind of left a bad taste in everyone's mouth, because I don't know, I'm assuming most people were kind of like, oh, we want the first two No More Heroes games on Switch, but instead they got this kind of different playing spin-off, which said that if they didn't sell well, they wouldn't release No More Heroes 3, so that kind of set a bad precedent at start. However, I think over time it's become a little bit of a underrated darling in a lot of spaces. But anyways, before I get to that, here is the first boss of the game. This guy is one of the most annoying fights in the whole game, just straight off the bat. And the reason is because he's a projectile type enemy. Like, I don't know, all his attacks are the kind of attacks which will kind of screw you over if you're not paying attention to like where you're going and all that. I don't know, he has that one attack where he just summons a bunch of circles. You might accidentally run into one of those circles, boom, damage. Then like when he gets a little off screen, he might shoot those balls at you, and then boom, if you're just kind of running and like, you know, you don't jump at the right time, or you jump like a little bit too much to the right or at a weird angle, boom, the ball hits you, boom, it's over. However, once you get past that first phase, we move on to this phase where it's going to be a little electric current going around here and there. We got to take out these light bulbs. However, the enemies are going to spawn in, and you want to kind of group up these enemies, because I don't know, if you like attack these enemies at a weird angle, like they might attack you a little too fast. You know, one of them might survive and attack you at like a weird angle, and then boom, like they'll be damaged. So you kind of want to group them up to like a nice diagonal line or straightforward line. So you kind of just rush through with your light attacks. You can kind of hold down the light button, like the light attack button, just kind of swoosh, slow down. But if you kind of get a little screwed up there, kind of go in a little circle, you can just kind of dodge the enemies there, like just like that. And also, this game's combat system. So, I don't know, the previous game's combat system is like really simple. You just kind of have, you know, your attack, your low attacks, you can lock onto enemies. But however, here we have a different camera angle, and we have a lot more to contend with, because we have these little, I don't know what the game calls them, I kind of forgot, but they have these little like power-ups where you can kind of just, boom, that's like a stunning power-up, and then you have a power-up to slow down time, and also you have this new thing. You also have a hook power-up, but you get this like from like the last boss in the game, and it's like one of the most useful techniques in the game, and I think I'll get into why it's so useful. But you just have all these different power-ups and a lot of different ways to use them. Like that's a bomb power-up, very useful to kind of throw on the enemy, to kind of wait for it to blow up and kind of go from there. Like I mean, the stun power-up, this is one of the most useful abilities in the game. You're gonna see it a lot more as I'm fighting these boss fights. It kind of keeps them stunned in place, so you can kind of get a few more hits in there, or you can kind of stun them to set up another power-up. Or something I like to do is kind of stun them, slow down time, because they'll be stunned for a lot more time. And also, okay, so you have your light attacks, which is kind of good for taking out like small enemies and all that. Then you have your heavy attacks, which is what I mostly use. However, sometimes I use the light attacks for boss fights whose openings are like really slim, or like heavy attacks don't really do well against them. Like for example, Doppelganger here, like I don't know, most of his attacks honestly are like a little too fast. However, he's more of a melee guy, so he's not as annoying as the previous guy, though he can get some pretty nasty moves. However, my combination here is gonna kind of screw him over. So yeah, boom, stun him, hit him a few times, like slow down time, hit him a few times to build up like the charge meter we have here. Oh yeah, the charge meter here. So pretty much there's 3 levels to it. You pretty much just fill up the circle by like, hitting him a bunch of times. And once it's filled up, you can kind of go for like a big 3-hit combo, which kind of stuns the enemy there. And the reason the hook is so useful, like I don't know, pretty much like the hook power-up thing, is that it also builds up your charge meter. So you can kind of get 2 big like heavy attack combos in there, pull out the hook meter, boom, instant charge up, and it becomes super useful for a boss fight later on. But yeah, so yeah, this combination. Also, another thing I should mention is that I'm doing a thing where I'm trying to get like SS rank, and it pretty much requires me to like beat up the boss fights as fast as possible and also not take damage. So that's why there's a big SS plus in like my title and all that. So yeah, here I'm going to be tackling the second phase, like using very little power-ups in order to like have all my power-ups available for the third phase. I'm trying to skip this dude's third phase, because in his third phase, he becomes doubles. And once he becomes double, like no, not even doubles, he turns to triples. He's kind of like death metal in the first game in that sense. However, he's way harder here, because at least death metal, like the third guy just kind of backs off of the other 2 guys that kind of attack you. And in the first game, you had blocking options. Now, I think this game's combat system is honestly maybe better than the first 2 games, but like the one thing which kind of brings it down for me, so yeah, here just kind of the combination of my power-ups just kind of screw him over. But like, or the one thing that brings like this game's combat system down is the lack of like block or parry options. I don't know, because like there's a really nice rhythm in this game. You know, when you have your power-ups, there's pretty much like no disadvantage to like facing the enemy. You just kind of use your power-ups. It's kind of like your big moment to just kind of let loose. But once you run out of power-ups and you're left like alone facing the enemy, like you have very slim openings to like attack them and all that. And it's there you feel kind of like useless because it's kind of like all you can do is like get a quick opening to attack them, but like there's no real way to block enemy attacks, no real way to like parry them, at least not to my knowledge. So like that's when the game's combat feels like a little empty or like a little lacking per se. But like, you know, to be fair, like your power-ups kind of make up for this. But like the thing is, your power-ups also run like a cooldown meter, which that's a little lame. You know, it's kind of like you're waiting for your power-ups to come in to deal any like real damage. Though to be fair, like for the most part, there are ways to kind of like, you know, be in consistent combat with enemies per se, you know, constantly landing hits, you know, like after they land hits, like, you know, like I'm doing right now. Like this is kind of like the phase when you don't have your power-ups. You just kind of do that. You're still dealing damage. So, you know, like, I mean, the game's combat still has like a nice flow to it, but just, you know, like a way to block attacks or parry attacks would have really gone a long way. Though, to be fair, with all these power-ups and all that, you're, like, stupid overpowered. You defeat enemies, like, super fast. So, yeah, anyways, wait, this big man here, amazing theme, though, by the way. The music in this game is amazing, and I love how it's mixed well. Like, I don't know, I'm not sure if this is true of the first game, but, like, in this, oh, yeah, it is true of the first game. I don't know, so, like, the mixing with the music in, like, the first two games, sometimes, like, certain songs just kind of fade out. Like, I don't know, you can't really hear certain songs well, but here, like, the music is mixed really well, that no matter what you're doing, no matter if you enter super mode or use, like, a power-up or whatever, you can hear the music super clearly. So anyways, see, I don't know, this guy here, like, I mean, most of his attacks you can kind of dodge and then attack him. However, this is kind of like a 2D plane, but it's still 3D, so sometimes, like, you want to make sure that you're on the right plane to dodge the dude, because sometimes, like, I don't know, the robot is so big that when you try to dodge him, he's kind of in the way, so you kind of roll into him. Like, that screwed me over a few times. But, like, my strategy here is I pretty much, I stun him, then I slow down time, and then I bring out the laser. So yeah, I mean, like, the laser kind of keeps you still and kind of like has you like vulnerable. So like one way to get around that vulnerability is to use the slowdown time power. See, it's like this fun way to play around with mechanics, you know, like you use one power to use another power, you kind of add all that up to get like this really fun, exciting, like fast momentum. And yeah, these boss fights are a lot faster because it's about time. It's kind of like a time trial thing, and this game takes a lot of inspiration from like indie games and all that, not just for like its gameplay but also for its narrative. Now, this is my second favorite game in the franchise. It's not without issues, but I think it's an awesome game, mostly because it's narrative and like meta narrative type reason. But anyways, let's talk about this guy, Smoking King. So when he does this big explosion attack, wait for him to like do that first area of attack damage and then like hone in on him with a jumping attack. And this is where I screw him over because like Travis has this one unique like power up he can use. So yeah, there's multiple characters in this game. Like, I don't know, there's like Travis and Batman, then there's like the two DLC characters, Shinobu and Batgirl, which I mean, it's kind of sad they're DLC, but at the very least, the PS4 and PC ports of this game, I'm playing this on Switch, but like the PS4 and PC ports of this game, I think I have all the DLC like in their base game, so that's nice. So anyway, so yeah. The way I'm screwing over Smoking King here is that like my combination of power is just so screwed up. Travis has a unique skill set like called, or like, I forgot what the like chip is called, but pretty much it allows him to enter like dark mode or whatever, which boosts his damage. So I pretty much just stun the boss fight, like slow down. No, I think I like slow down time. I stun the boss fight. I activate like the I slow down time, activate the dark mode, and then I throw like the super stun chips, which now have boosted damage, and then I go into spinning mode while I'm like in dark mode to deal like a ton of damage, just pretty much delete that entire health bar. So yeah, for this second phase, I'm going to be doing it like pretty like safely, just like using my normal combos, because like, I don't know, like Smoking King has some pretty like good combos to like exploit. Pretty much just kind of wait for him to do an attack, do a heavy, and don't dodge, just walk away. It's actually faster, because I don't know, dodging kind of puts you in a bad position sometimes, and like, I mean, there is used to dodging in like most boss fights, but like for this boss fight, just kind of attack him and like pretty much end it there. Now his third phase is painful because like this smoke attack he opens with, it's unpredictable. Sometimes like the smoke will like, when you open the fight, it'll be out to get you. Sometimes it'll land just right where you're not hit at first. It's hard to react to, and then like, you know, there's the part where like he breathes fire and everything blows up, and he's also doing other attacks while the arena's being covered in smoke. I don't know, I hate that attack. It was super hard to deal with, but somehow I was able to kind of do my big like power like boom bang before he got to like his big phase, before he like did the fire thing. To be fair, like I was trying to bait him to do the fire thing, but like I found a good opening to just kind of destroy him before he did the fire thing. Anyways, here is 8 Hearts, which is one of like the protagonists in the game Shadows Dam, which I have not played. And man, I really want to talk about this game's narrative and like story, because I really love that stuff. Though to be fair, this video is really short and it's not giving me a lot of time to get to that. All I have to say is watch G Henry's video. He goes into great depth about like the great meta narrative of this game. You know, kind of how it's a reflection of Suda's entire career and hardships in the gaming industry, and also just the history of games in general, and not just like in a superficial way, like, oh look, 8-bit Nintendo. No, it goes over everything. 8-bit, like like PlayStation 1, like, I don't know, niche like visual novel type games, and even up to like the 7th or 6th gen, I forget which one it is, with the Xbox 360 and PS3. Just there's so much like heart and soul put into like this like smaller project, and there's just like a lot of like meaning behind like the decisions made to be like more subtle, like exactly not exactly as extravagant as like the first two games. Well, part of that is like cost, and the other part is just like more subtle, like more extravagant. It's a very niche type of game and like story, but one which like is just so like satisfying to like go through, and also to understand the history behind it. Though the thing is, it is niche, it does have a lot of like history behind it, so like if you don't really get that, like it might be a bit of a boring game. Though even on its own, the gameplay is crunchy. The only thing that really brings it down is like the level design. Like just the level design really does not need to be as long as it is. Like the combat's fun, fighting enemies is fun, but like levels like last way too long. Like they could honestly cut down like most of the levels in half, and like you could be a lot better off. And also, the game kind of starts off with two of its worst levels. Because, like, I don't know, the second and first level are, like, way too dragged down. The second level may be, like, the worst section in the game, aside from, like, the final level. But, like, yeah, because, like, the third and fourth level, the third and fourth level are, like, a lot better. I don't know, like the Electro Man's level is, like, too long. I don't know, Mr.Doppelganger's level is too long. However, the mansion level is pretty sick. I don't know, just going from door to door, like, I don't know, the comfy ass like mansion music, just like that level is pretty dope. And then you get to like I think we get to this guy's level, and like this guy's level is awesome. Like, I don't know, just a lot of fun little challenges, a lot of little references to the original game, and it doesn't outstay its welcome too long. You're like, nice. And then after that, you get to like the final CIA level, and that level is like outstayed this welcome a little too long. So, anyways, my strategy with this guy is to pretty much like use the Darkman like chip again, but this time instead of like relying on the spinning move, I'm going to use the laser to pretty much like deplete his entire health bar. The great thing about the laser is that it deals damage to the next phase. You know, boss fights have phases that can kind of interrupt your powers, kind of how like your super instinct mode, like your ecstasy gauge mode in the second game, could kind of interrupt your powers if like a boss fight has like a transitionary like QT or cutscene. Same thing happens here with like your powers. So you'd like, I don't know, the big damage you wanted to deal could kind of get interrupted at certain points. So like my thing with I don't know, 8 hearts is that I wanted to avoid his final phase by pretty much like deleting his entire health bar so he only has a chip, so that I could immediately kill him once the phase started. So yeah, I hope the rest of that is explanatory, like self-explanatory, because here I am battling White Sheepman, who has an she has an amazing theme, with like an amazing like, I don't know, like motif from like the original like No More Heroes theme, but it doesn't show up until like super long into the song, and I kill this boss fight too fast before like that motif pops up, and it makes the entire song, but it just I kill her too fast before like it shows up. So you know, it's such a shame. Go listen to like her track on like your own, because like it's such an amazing moment in the game. And when I first played this game, like it just kicked in, like the emotions flowed in, like just amazing, like amazing theme. But besides even that part, like motif part, like just like the creepy like audio thing, the drones, like just, I don't know, just it's a super cool way to set the fight. I don't know, because it sets the fight like as a really like desperate, like, I don't know, scary moment. But then when that motif kicks in, like, I don't know, it kind of takes on a more sorrowful, like moody tone. And like this game overall is like a far more sorrowful, moody tone, because I don't know, the No More Heroes like idea / theme, like in the first game is kind of taking like stereotypes and archetypes from like different like anime shows, like mangas, like, and kind of like applying them in like a more gritty, grounded setting. The second game takes that idea and brings it more to like movie tropes, and this game takes that idea to like game consoles and game characters. Like Travis kind of like slaughters like different like generation of like gaming heroes, or at least gaming heroes are like kind of representative of like their genre, and just kind of killing them all at once, kind of culminating in this fight against a game creator who's grown like kind of disillusioned with the industry, kind of like pretty much a self-insert for Suda51 himself, who's kind of like gone through like kind of the cycle of like big industry, who kind of like brought him down. And like G. Henry's video kind of goes into this in like far more detail, but it's just a really fascinating game. Like, I mean, you would assume it's just like a little like dumb spin-off, and most people wrote it off as such, but it's just, there's so much to like get into with this game. It's just so much heart, soul, like just, oh my goodness. Oh yeah, but anyways, I just destroyed White Sheepman. I don't know. Pretty much like the great thing is you can kind of slow down time, build up your charge meter, boom, boom, charge, and then after you do like your big 3-hit charge attack, you can do the lightning thing, get 2 hits in, then do the hook, which builds up your charge thing again, and then boom, hit him again. So like the thing about White Sheepman is you want to keep him, you want to keep her like at the end of the stage, because the camera's kind of focused at the end of the stage, and just kind of go from there. I don't know. I don't want to explain it too much anymore. So anyways, here is Silverface, who has like the best theme of the game. It's like, you know, that vocal track which damage like Margaret had in the second game. They brought that same idea back, except they made it like way better here with like this sick bilingual rap. Like, yo, let's go. So anyways, I'm going to be, you know, the Dark Travis thing I'm doing. So anyways, I'm going to apply that to like the hook. So like the hook deals a ton of damage, and it's also this dude's weapon, but it also builds up like the heat. I mean, I mentioned why the hook is so useful, but anyways, I'm gonna use like the dark mode like power up just to bring like way more damage to the hook, and just boom, the entire health bar deleted in that first phase. Let's go. So anyways, his attacks are super fast. However, if you do like the heavy attack, you can get a good hit in there for the most part. When he does like the big flashing move, just look away from him, because if you look straight ahead, you get stunned. It's pretty much a big flashbang thing. You don't want to deal with it. So once we get into the third phase here, like, don't get too close to the end of the stage, because their spikes will like stab you. And also when he does that attack, you know, watch out for those like glowy things, because they pretty much damage you as well. You don't want to deal with that. And yeah, just from here we're gonna end the fight. So yeah, I don't know, thanks for watching. A bit of a short video, I don't know. I mean, this was a little bit more of a low scale game. And yeah, I'll see you next time for whenever I make a new video. Don't really have any current plans. I don't know, same sentiments as last time. I have big projects coming up, so yeah, I'll see you then.